Today is Sunday, April 14th, and this is another update on my progress beating the S&P 500 along with the Ark Innovation ETF. I do make these videos every Sunday and Tuesday, so if you want to follow along, hit that subscribe button and let's get into it. These are all the moves that I made since last Wednesday. I wanted the market to ideally go down a little bit before I went ahead and added anything. I managed to wait all the way until the end of the day on Friday to do this. And at that point, I felt like the market had dropped a fair bit. So I went ahead and added 15% of what I already held in all of my positions. None of these are that big of positions right now, but I'm still just slowly adding to them over time as the market decreases. So that way, when the market does rebound, I have a pretty good dollar cost average. The only new position that I opened into, which also was at Friday's close, was I put 13% of my entire portfolio into PSQ, which is the ProShares inverse tracker of the NASDAQ. So pretty much what this does is it's going to do the opposite of what the NASDAQ does. So if the NASDAQ goes up 1%, this will essentially go down 1%. But it also works the other way too. So if the NASDAQ drops a percentage point, this will increase by a percentage point. It's one of the strategies that I used last year, and it worked out pretty well. So I'm going to try it again this year and see how it does. It's definitely not a position I'm going to be into for a while. I'll probably only be into it for a couple of days. So these are all my current open positions. Right now, everything is in the red except for Amazon, which is fine because I'm just going to keep dollar cost averaging into these positions as they decline. Ideally, they would just rebound and they wouldn't decline anymore, but I do think that that's ultimately going to be the case, which is why I put 13% of my portfolio into the inverse NASDAQ, because I want to have exposure in the market in case it does go up, because you never really want to be all cash for too long. But at the same time, if the market is just going to keep going down, I don't want to see my portfolio just continue to go down as well. So how it breaks down is in a roundabout way. I have 44.8% of my portfolio invested in long positions, with 12.93% tied up in the PSQ, which is essentially a short position. So even though I have 57.73% of my entire portfolio invested, 12.93% of that is in a short position. So the way that I'm just going to look at it is the spread between what I'm long and what I'm short, which is 31.87%. So even though I added 15% to all my open positions, I'm actually less invested long as I was last week because I bought into the PSQ. Because if I'm 44.8% long and I'm 12.93% short and the market goes up, that 12.93% is not going to matter that much because that 44.8% is going to outgain that easily. Yeah, I'm not going to make as much as I would have if I wasn't short, but the reason I am short is because I do think the market's going to keep going down, but at the same time, I still want to remain invested. So this is currently what the SPY chart looks like. You can see over the last couple of days, we crossed below this green trend line, which I said was going to be fine just as long as we don't cross below this red one. But the way that it's shaping right now is that we're moving toward it pretty quickly, which is why for the time being, I'm a little bit short in the market. Because if over the next couple of days we get to this red trend line, it's only going to be about a 0.5 percentage point drop to get there. And that's going to be kind of a pivotal moment because if it doesn't rebound from that point and it drops all the way to this next trend line, we're looking at over a 2% drop from where it is right now. If it does drop over 2% and it reaches this second red trend line, that's when I would be looking to make massive moves as far as increasing all my position sizes. But until we get to that point, I'm just going to keep adding a little bit at a time. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how the market does over the next couple of days. Since last Wednesday, my portfolio dropped 0.97%. The S&P 500 saw a drop of 1.66%. And the Ark Innovation ETF had a loss of 4.34%, which brings us year to date, my portfolio has a gain of 15.84%. The S&P 500 is at a gain of 8.02%. And the Ark Innovation ETF on the year has a loss of 7.90%. That's all I got for today. I do make these videos every Sunday and Tuesday. So if you want to follow along, hit that subscribe button and I'll catch you on Tuesday.